Blue Beetle sounds like it'll turn out to be a mess for DC as box office estimates sound extremely low. The first domestic preview numbers are out and they're looking terrible. And while critics are saying it's a pretty good movie, it's not surprising that since they pushed the messaging in this film to the max, and even the stars and director have been going on about it in interviews, saying all of the themes it covers are stunning and brave. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media so you can see when my content is posted, and of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. So as you can see, Culture Crave had tweeted this. It says Blue Beetle grosses $3.3 million in domestic previews. The Flash in comparison made $9.7 million. And keep in mind, we only just found out that The Flash was technically a bomb at the box office. It barely made back its budget. That means that they made no profit and ultimately lost money on its theatrical run because films need to do double at least what their budget was. And keep in mind that The Flash at first was actually a pretty slow-rolling film. It didn't do all that good at its opening weekend, and it did, make money over the stretch of time it was in theaters, but Blue Beetle grossing only $3.3 million in domestic previews is definitely not a good sign for this movie, and you have to consider this film has a $120 million budget. So, heading on over to Bounding into Comics, I wanted to read this article. It says that the director has doubled down on promoting Blue Beetle with identity politics, questions if it was possible to have a Latino superhero on a Times Square billboard. Now, whenever I see directors, actors, anyone promoting a film with identity politics, of course, I am not interested instantly. And Blue Beetle is a film that, I've got to be honest, I haven't really had a lot of hype for, primarily because of the Batman's a fascist line that we saw in the first trailer for it. After that, I said, I'm good. If you want to highlight messaging like that in a simple trailer, clearly the movie is filled to the brim with it, and that is what we are now hearing. First of all, as I said, the director has doubled down on promoting Blue Beetle with identity politics, saying they didn't even know if it was possible to have a Latino superhero on a Times Square billboard. He said this in a interview talking with The Wrap. He said, I'm very happy that finally we're able to see how the whole promotion is being manifested. Us seeing a Latino superhero of our own in Times Square is something that, if we're thinking about it, is that even possible? Now it's happening. I never thought that it wasn't possible. I have always said that diversity and inclusivity is good, but you should be either creating new characters or taking characters that have already been created that do fit into the parameters of a character you want to create or you want to highlight on the big screen. It's fine that you're taking a character that is supposed to be Latino and casting a Latino. The issue that, comes into play a lot of the times with Hollywood and the films and content that they're creating is that they take characters who were not originally this certain, ethnicity, and then they're changing them around. They are either race swapping them, in a lot of cases they're gender swapping them, and that is what people do not want to see. People will show up to watch a genuinely good movie with a Latino superhero as long as it's well written, and I've got to be honest, Blue Beetle seems like it's got a lot of problems. We also have the Blue Beetle director confirming the film includes themes of displacement, colonialism, and gentrification. Of course, let's just shove as much messaging as possible into this film. Let's fill it to the brim with messaging, and that's not what people want. I do think that Blue Beetle will do okay at the box office, but I've got to be honest, I think that there is a massive superhero fatigue going on right now. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it's just bad superhero movie fatigue. I think it's just fatigue from superheroes in general. I mean, we are constantly getting superhero films. We had Flash that is now going into Blue Beetle. I just think that people are getting sick and tired of seeing the same things over and over. And we also have this article from Variety. They are claiming that Blue Beetle aims to end Barbie's box office reign with a 30 million debut. And maybe it will hit this. I mean, ultimately we won't know for a few days. But it says that it's targeting a 25 to at max 32 million debut, which is still awful for the DCEU and all of these films that have released. I mean, if we look at this list, the lowest opening weekend we have seen was Wonder Woman 1984 at 16.7 million, and then Suicide Squad, the 2021 version, at 26.2 million. So it is aiming to on the low end be between the two lowest films that have been released, but even on the high end, it would be right around the numbers of Shazam, which was 30.1 million, and of course, Shazam released in 2023. So we are seeing its numbers be on the lowest side of all of these films that have released. Because, I mean, if you look at something like Batman vs. Superman, which was the highest opening weekend, 166 million, 2016 Suicide Squad at 133, Man of Steel at 116, it is, at least the estimates are saying, it is nowhere near those numbers. And you have to look at the, worldwide box office totals for these movies in general. The lowest was Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and then, of course, Wonder Woman 1984, so they were relatively close, but it's not estimated that Blue Beetle is even going to hit this. We have seen estimates that Blue Beetle in its entire box office run is going to hit like 110. I've seen that number floating around, which isn't even its full budget. So they are looking at a loss on this film, at least at this point. Maybe it will, surprise, because the critics do actually like this film. As you can see, the all critic is a 78% and the top critic is a 71, so it's definitely gotten a bit lower, but the audience scores are out. The verified audience is a 94, but the all audience is an 88%, and these numbers may go up, they may go down, but you also have to consider that a lot of the critics are shills. It's why I do not usually trust critic scores. A 78% is pretty high. But we also have the audience scores, and super fans are going to see it first. This is what happens with all of these superhero films, whether it's DC or Marvel. The super fans always go to see it first, so I do think that we are going to see these numbers drop quite a bit. The verified audience score usually doesn't change too much because, of course, Rotten Tomatoes does seem to manipulate this score, since they can verify any reviews they want and deny any reviews they want. But the all audience is at an 88%. I do think that is going to drop quite a bit, but a lot of these all audience reviews are a bit suspicious. We've got 5 stars, and we've got people simply saying awesome family entertaining movie, and then you have people saying so good movie, nice entertainer. That is a 5-star, and they have rated basically everything 5-star. Blue Beetle 5-star, Spider-Man 5-star, The Flash 5-star, Guardians of the Galaxy 5-star. I mean, they don't give things really an under 4-star, so a lot of people think that is a little bit suspicious. I do as well. I again do think that these scores are going to go down as the movie continues to release, because it is only release weekend. As it continues to go on, I do think that the scores are going to drop a little bit, but so far things are not looking very good for them. I mean, grossing 3.3 in domestic previews, and that being it, is definitely a sign of disaster for them, seeing as The Flash in comparison made 9.7 million. Maybe this film will do amazing in theaters. I highly doubt it. But so far, there are tons of red flags for this movie. From the, director saying it, features themes of things like displacement and gentrification, to them, promoting it, doubling down on promoting it with identity politics. And of course, the now infamous Batman is a fascist line that I think turned a lot of people off from this film. Only time will tell, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.